Yeah. YouTube! What's up, baby? Back in this thing again for another review. This is Q's Insight. I am Callie, and today we're here to talk about From Season 4, Episode 2. Alright? Now, if you've been to this channel before, you already know how we do it. We started off with the premise. 3 favorite scenes. The grade. And then we to the next one, right? So again, this is going to be From Season 4, Episode 2 review. Alright, so this is going to be spoilerish. If you haven't seen the episode, if you haven't seen episode 1, if you haven't seen episode 2, which is the review of, I will pause the video and go watch those episodes and go watch my review of Season 4, Episode 1, and then watch my review of Season 4, Episode 2, which is this one. Alright? Now, like I said, I'm not going to spoil it too much. I'm going to kind of give you the premise of what happened, point out a few things, come with my favorite 3 scenes, then the grade, and that's that. Alright? So if you don't mind being spoiled, you can stay. If you have seen the episode, of course, stay. If you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, pause the video, go watch the episode, come back. Alright, so Season 4, Episode 2 of From review starts right now. Alright, so in this episode kind of continues where the last episode left off of, where Sophia had taken the priest's life. We pick up where Kenny actually fell asleep right before she takes the priest's life. He wakes up, sees that the door is open to the building, goes outside, sees Sophia outside. Sophia is kind of in a frantic situation. You know, she's crying because her father died, right? And she didn't have nothing to do with it. So all of a sudden, Kenny's like, dude, what are you doing? The door's open, you're outside, you can't do this. It's nighttime. Get inside, whatever. And she's like, you know, my father died, and da-da-da-da-da. And so he's feeling sorry. All of a sudden, monsters start coming out the corner. He grabs her. They go back in the building. He tells her, look, like, you know, I'm sorry about what happened, but you cannot go outside. You can't go outside, bro. You cannot do that. And so she kind of becomes accepting of it. We see her looking at a few of the trinkets that are inside the building. And one of the trinkets that she looks at is the music box. And she gives that a weird type of look. So I don't know what that means, but we know we've seen the music box before in this series. So something's with that. And then from there we have a situation where we see Acosta, from her losing her kind of mind from all these things that's going on. She ends up falling asleep in the diner from the last episode, wakes up, and just all of a sudden decides, like, you know what, I'm going to take the paramedic truck and I'm going to go try to get out of here. So she steals the paramedic truck and starts driving around From, just like everybody does in the very beginning. But this isn't the very beginning for her. So it's kind of weird that she's doing it. But, you know, to each his own. So she starts driving around. Before she can take off, though, Christy hops in the car and is trying to calm her down, but she's going along for the ride as well. We get a situation where Boyd, his eye catches this sack that's hanging from this sign, which we've seen in the trailers, a bloody sack. They go to it. Tabitha's freaking out because she knows that Jim didn't come home last night, so she's thinking that Jim's in the bag. They cut down the bag, open it up, and it's like cut up and slaughtered like goats or sheep, however you want to say it, right? Then Ethan and Julie go to the farm because Tabitha tells Julie to take Ethan with her and walk away from the scene just in case Jim's body is in the bag. So Julie takes Ethan to the farm. When they open up the farm door, Julie starts screaming Ethan starts crying because in there is where Jim's body is actually, and he's hanging upside down with his torso ripped open, blood kind of spilling out a little bit dry at this point, but still kind of spilling out. Now, what's weird about the situation is that it's either that this is a different Jim because his stomach is ripped open and not his neck, or his neck is ripped open and you just can't see because he's hanging upside down and his shirt has covered it. And maybe the monster's ripped open his stomach because they usually do that when they kill people. And, you know, so maybe they just wanted to make it look like that, or maybe the man in yellow or Sophia wanted that to look that way. However it is, we see him hanging upside down. And now the town knows that he's dead, you know, so it's not a secret no more. You know, and because of this situation, you know, Julie ends up needing to have a breather, and Donna ends up watching Ethan. Julie goes to Randall for help. She's about to start practicing story walking. He agrees to help her once he finds out that, you know, her father passed away. In the midst of that, you still got Acosta driving around in a paramedic or in an ambulance car with Christy, explaining to her, like, I don't deserve to be here. You know, this feels like hell, and da 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 da. And Christy's like, do you think that everybody else feels like they should be here? Do you think that everybody else didn't go through what you went through? The difference is everybody went through what you went through, saw what's here, and it's not, you know, breaking down like you. They're in acceptance of what's going on, you know. So, but she's still not stopping the car. Ethan ends up sneaking out while Donna's watching him, and his whole thing is he's going, we don't know where he's going, but we eventually end up finding out that he's going back to the RV. You have a situation where Elgin and Boyd end up talking, and Elgin's like, you know, I'm going to tell people what happened or whatever. Boyd's like, no, you're not. You know what I'm saying? And if you do, I'm going to tell the townspeople that you killed Tilly and da-da-da-da-da. So he's basically blackmailing Elgin. Elgin replies back like, you know, the truth always comes out. And Boyd tells him, well, if I was you, I would hope that it doesn't, for your sake, because of course he's gonna tell everybody else in town basically a lie. So, you know, we're seeing Boyd kind of going down this dark path, man. We see Jade, and he is still continuing trying to get answers and whatnot. Trying to get Tabitha to come along and you know, talk about stuff. But he does end up talking to Boyd, and he does end up sharing what he found out with Boyd, and I believe it was Ellis. But for sure, he tells Boyd what he knows. So at least the knowledge is being spread. At least we can possibly start getting this stuff solved. You know what I'm saying? Rather than people knowing things and not talking. And I would say another important part would be, you know, seeing Ethan, where he ends up going to the RV. When he gets there, he ends up seeing Jim. He ends up seeing his father. Now, usually when people see people that are deceased in this show, they talk to them, but they don't interact with them. Like, they don't give them hugs or, you know what I'm saying, whatever it may be. Now, this iteration of Jim, whether it was a ghost or it's just him, he's reborn, but whatever it is, right? He gave Ethan a hug. He asked Ethan certain questions, and he told him about the Lake of Tears. He told him about there was a certain dream that you had in this RV. Can you remember it? I need you to remember it. While he's talking to Ethan, he keeps turning around, like wherever he is at, he's seeing something, like something's coming or whatever it may be. So he ends up having to leave Ethan. And then and at the same time, when Ethan's talking to Jim, eventually Tabitha ends up calling out his name, and when she calls out his name so much, you know, it kind of interfered with him talking to Jim. So whether it was that someone was coming after Jim, or whether it was that Tabitha was coming to get Ethan, it stopped their little transmission to see each other. Ethan explains to his mother that he saw his dad, and you know, she starts crying, whatever it may be. We end up picking back up with Randall and Julie. Julie has him come with her to the ruins where she was able to story walk before. He tests this out before her to walk into the ruin area. He doesn't like have a seizure. He doesn't story walk. So that's not his power, but she needed to make sure, because when she story walks, he needs to be able to help her out if need be. So she walks in there. Before she walks in there, she says, hey, no matter how bad it looks, I need you to give me some time so I can figure stuff out. He agrees with it. She goes into the ruins. Immediately, she's story walking. She's going back to the night of the RV, when her and Jim and her mom and her brother had arrived. And we're seeing the monsters walk from the forest to the RV, and she's there, and she's seeing them. They don't notice her at the time. And then eventually the monsters get to the RV, kind of like how it did in the original episode. So she yells out to her father. Her father kind of hears her, I think, but doesn't completely hear her. When she does that, one of the monsters grabs her and tries to attack her and is like trying to kill her. And, you know, in the real world, out of the story walking, Randall's looking at her and she's like kind of, you know, even though she's having a seizure, it looks like she's having a real bad time. So he gives her a little bit more time, but he ends up eventually taking her out. When he takes her out, she starts freaking out because she's like, I saw my dad, I know what to do, da-da-da-da. You know, and she wants to go try it again, but he pulls her back like, hold on, take a breather, you know what I'm saying, we'll try again later type thing. And that was basically the episode. I won't get into every detail, but that was basically the episode. 3 of my favorite scenes, these may be out of order, but these are still 3 of my favorite scenes. I like this scene. I mean, it was crazy, but I definitely like this scene where, you know, Ethan and Julie end up finding out about Jim being hung up in the barn with the, you know, the thing in the back saying knowledge comes at a cost. Like, that was crazy, man. That was a sad situation, but it was a crazy scene, you know what I'm saying? And then just the whole trickery of Boyd finding a bag hanging right before that. You thinking that it's Jim up there, but no, Jim is in the barnyard, you know, in the farm area. So that was my first favorite scene. My second favorite scene, I would have to say, will have to be like when, I would say, the scene between Jim and Ethan, because that was heartwarming, that was touching, you know what I'm saying? Him getting to see his father one more time, you know, that his father is deceased and whatnot. And then his father saying, like, do you remember the dream? You need to find a lake of tears, da-da-da-da-da. We're getting answers, we're getting pushed in a certain direction, and I'm liking it. And then, you know, Jim, where is he at? Is he truly dead or what? So that'll be my second favorite scene. My third favorite scene probably would have to be Julie's story walking. I thought that was really cool too. We finally get to see her story walk, this version of her story walk, even though it wasn't a successful attempt, it still was an attempt. So, you know, I thought that was pretty cool. She almost got taken out as well, you know what I'm saying? And I just thought it was a cool scene. So that'll be 3 of my favorite scenes for this episode. This episode was strong, just as the first one. I guess I would kind of say I like the first episode a little bit more, but this episode was definitely strong. This episode, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. So 9.5 out of 10, definitely above average, definitely great, definitely worth your time. If you saw the first episode, of course, you're going to see this one. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments down below. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. We'll be back on here for sure for episode 3's review. I hope you guys liked it. Remember to hype the video up too as well. And until next time.